Are we live? Are we moving? I think we're good. What's up guys, I'm Cam from Handheld, and every week I rank the 7 best mobile designs across the internet so you can steal the best bits for your design projects. If you're coming from the newsletter, you probably already know the winners. If not, firstly, subscribe to the newsletter. And secondly, just sit back and let me showcase to you some of the best designers on the internet. Without further ado, let's just get straight into it. In 7th place, we have a Fertility Insight widget by Studio Sphere. Normally, I tend to show full app screens, but I do have a soft spot for showcasing components and widgets. Widgets are a great way to visualize your app outside of the app layer and give users a new entry point into your app to boost user retention. For simple things like this, where you have a bright color illustration that draws the users in, a nice little tagline that makes users feel something. I have all the information I need from this widget, and it's in a way that it's very enticing as a user. If you can think of ways to design your application outside of your app as a whole and add that fourth layer through widgets or live activities, then trust me, your mobile app's gonna go through the roof. Up next, in number 6, we have a gradient input box by Safayette Ahmed, and here the execution is amazing. The gradient shadow around the input with the inner white borders of the buttons, it makes the app feel alive. As a whole, the industry is kind of moving away from just pure flat design. We're adding more skeuomorphic or neumorphism back into applications to bring that realism and bring that tactile feel that people love in mobile applications that we get from real life. I know there's some ways to do it with using shapes and then adding blurs behind the shape to add a gradient, because you can't use gradient shadows in Figma. We've been waiting for a long time. But the execution on this design from Safayette seems of the highest quality. So I'll make sure to reach out to Safayette for a tutorial. Subscribe to the newsletter because that's where you'll get it first. And in 5th place, we have an iOS camera redesign by Budvin. So the reason I put this at 5th place in this week's design picks is because it took me down memory lane. I know when I first started mobile design, I ended up doing concepts for apps. I just feel like it's a great way to learn product design, great way to learn app design, UX, just working with things that have already been built before so you can actually find the details and find why certain companies did a certain thing. I think Budvin is learning in the best way possible. So, iOS 26. You either love it or you hate it. I feel like Apple have stirred up the mobile design community a lot in the recent months, but one of the things that I didn't like is on their camera update. You can only see 2 toggles, which is video and photo. You have to actually long press on that to unearth those other modes on the camera. So the reason I put this in number 5 from Budvin is because he actually unearthed those options already, especially for the user base that want to use the different features like slow-mo, cinematic, photo, portraits. It's a very hard way to get to those features, and the fact that Budvin moved up the last photo thumbnail and the selfie camera and back camera switch upwards in line with the camera shutter button, it adds some more space and gives the user that notice that there are more features that they can use and more ways they can shoot the best photo possible. Well done, Budvin. I really like that one, and I'll be checking out more of your work. And if you want your work featured in the newsletter, subscribe to Handheld down below, and there'll be a submit button that you can use to actually submit some work. If you want me to see it, if you want me to review, if you want to put into design picks, the more the merrier, because I want people to show good mobile design, and I feel like good mobile design is lack thereof at the moment, and hopefully I can give that inspiration to people. In 4th place, we have a cycle tracker dashboard from Studio Sphere again. Studio Sphere always dropping some great submissions. If you do want inspiration, firstly, I'll be dropping it here at Handheld, so subscribe to the newsletter, but also you can go to their profile too. This is actually a connection to number 7 with the widget. So this is the same application, and you can see how different entry points can lead to different places. For this design in particular, and why it's in 4th place, is because of the data visualization. I'm a real sucker for data viz. I think data viz is one of the most intricate, delicate pieces of product design that there is, and I love seeing unique examples of how people are using data to visualize it for users. So what took me by surprise is showcasing a cycle in a circular view, which I haven't actually come across before. So I'm really interested in this to see if, one, it works in real practice, because I do have some comments on this. One of the things that I would probably do to improve it is to add all the number of the days in the calendar instead of just having 1, 7, 14, 21, and 28. My opinion is capped, because as a man, I don't have to go through these apps. I don't have to experience this, but I can probably understand that knowing the exact dates when a flow is finishing or how long it's for is very useful to a woman. And you know what? I'll get my girlfriend's opinion on this.
Honestly, as a woman who loves tracking her periods, I feel like this period app is clean and straightforward, and it's not too complicated. My main reservation was the cycle date. It only showed the average cycle of a woman, which is 28 days, and not every woman has a 28-day cycle. That means we have longer cycles or shorter cycles. So I was wondering whether this app catered to being able to edit your cycle, accustomed to you. But other than that, I think the app is really clean. It does the job. It tells you when your next period is, and you're able to track and figure out where you are within your cycle.
For the comments that I can actually talk about from a design perspective, this is executed in one of the best ways possible. The blends of the gradient throughout the circle, the little checkpoints to showcase the days. This is going to give a lot of people a lot of inspiration of how they can take their data and change it into something that's a lot more simpler for users to understand at a glance. And that's the key thing for these applications that use health data. But nonetheless, a great submission from Studio Sphere. So now we're getting into the podium, the main event. So this was a hard choice, and you can probably see throughout the designs that we've already talked about already that there was some greatly executed work, but there only could be one top three. And in third place, we have Muharrem with Predictive Crypto Insights. Muharrem is one of my favorite designers on X. All the work he does is of top quality. If you don't know the current industry, there's a lot of prediction betting apps at the moment. If you're working on one of those projects for maybe a startup, look at Polymarket and Kalshi. But back to Muharrem, this is executed so well done. The graph visualization that he used is amazing. I really want you guys to look at and admire and steal because it's so amazingly done. For example, the little subtle glow of the graph to make it feel like it's alive and kicking. As it drops between the yes and no, the color changes on the graph. That's such a great way to visualize where something sits in relation to something else. Also the color choices. So we know we have the orange and blue contrasting against a black background, but he uses lighter gray colors to segment the data, and I just feel like it's such an easy way to scan a page at first glance. You know where exactly where everything is. I have a lot of other designs to showcase from him, and if you want to go there and beat me to it already, go to his profile. The links are in the newsletters. Like I said before, he does some great work, and I really admire him as a mobile designer myself. Now for second place we have Paul Elite with a fuel logistics dashboard. Yeah, this design is amazing. You can tell already that I'm excited to talk about this one, so let's get straight into it. The reason that this design caught my eye was because this map is actually custom made. If you're a mobile designer and you've had to work on an application that needs a map, you know how hard it is to find a map that's perfect for your application. Has it got the right colors? Has it got the right labeling? Is it at the right distance? If you are looking for some map makers, I know Snazzy Maps, Mapbox, Maps.co, like there's a lot of them, but they're never perfect. So if you can have the time and effort like Paul Elite did to actually create your own map, it will go such a long way in how cohesive your mobile app project looks in the end. Because I was also interested in how Paul Elite actually tackled the design, I asked him a few questions, and this is what he had to say. I asked him, what was your process for creating the custom maps? Any specific tools or techniques? This is what he said in his own words. Like, there's no other crazy technique to it. They may find some ways where you can do with the other map generators that I said, but you're never going to get close to what you actually want for the mobile app that you're designing if you don't just get to it custom. And this is exactly what Paul Elite did. One of the big things of why this is at second place is because Paul Elite understands who he's designing for, and that's a big point. You should ask yourself, who am I designing it for and where would they be using it? And the last question I asked him was, how do you balance showing complex routing data without overwhelming the map view? This is what Paul Elite said. He's really thinking about the user, and he's right. If information does change and you have information that stays the same, always prioritize the information that changes, because that's going to be the most vital to a user that's going to be in the real world driving or following a map or a waypoint. We learned a lot of things from Paul Elite and this design, and it deserved its flowers. Great one, Paul. And last but not least, in first place, we have a Web3 wallet from Stats Studio. And instantly, you can probably tell why I put this at first. This is the first winner of this new handheld format that we have going on right now. I've designed Web3 wallets in the past, and trust me, they are hard. But for some reason, Stats Studio have found a way to make Web3 approachable, very inviting to a user that's such an intimidating industry. And I'm going to walk you through the design and some of the best bits that you can take for your Web3 project in the future. First of all, the color palette is nice and simple, and all the things that deserve color have color to actually draw the user's attention. The accounts, the buttons, the icons as well for different settings menus, and then also the primary buttons and illustrations. Be restrained in how you use color in your designs and make sure it's for a purpose, because not only does it look pretty, but it serves a function. That's what I'll take from this app design if you want to take anything at all. One of the things that I wanted everyone to have a look at is how you can change the vibe and tone of an application by just doing a few little things. So you can see there's a lot of large border radiuses. The icons are a bit softer. The text is actually also a little bit rounded on some of the corners too. All those details really do add up to a very fun and interesting experience that Stat Studio were obviously going for. And that's a wrap for Design Picks issue 21. Congrats to Stat Studio, congrats to Paul Elite, congrats to Muharrem on the podium, and all the other designers that have been featured in this week's issue. Hope you found some value. Let me know what you steal in the comments, if you stole anything at all, because that's what I want Handheld to be. I want it to be a place where we feature the best designers and showcase to you what you can use to help you in your design projects. So on that note, I'm Cam, and I'll be here every week, sharing the best mobile design work from the best designers on the internet. If that's something that you'll like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow Handheld on X for daily inspiration, and subscribe to the newsletter to submit your own work and get your work featured in a future issue. Link down below in the description. And on that note, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.